Well, hello my lovelies, and very unexpectedly you join me here in Johnston. But am I about to make the most dreadful mistake? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's try and drive to work. Okay so far.
The YouTube channel's not any good, but he's a nice guy. I'm sorry, Mr. Boaty.
To make YouTube videos with...
Oh, you had me at YouTube videos. Let's go, Boaty.
Oh, that bloody noise. Okay, here we go. We have electricity. We have a bit of petrol. And we have hope in our hearts. Do we not, my lovelies? So, what exactly am I going on about? Well, as anybody who follows this channel, or indeed my social media, particularly the Facebook group, Boaty's World, you will know that Brian became something of a problem child. He started playing up really quite dreadfully. The electrics were going haywire, he was cutting out, he was refusing to start, all sorts of things were going on. And I believed the problem to be quite a common one, a buggered BCU, or Brian Control Unit. Basically these get afflicted with condensation, and which then becomes rust, and it causes lots and lots of problems. And the solution is to whip the Brian Control Unit out, which is easier said than done, especially on cars with air conditioning, which Brian has, and either replace the relays or replace the whole thing and get it coded to your key fobs and whatnot. And that's exactly what I was planning to do, with some help from Philip at P-Scan and the lovely guys at DMGRS. And indeed, Brian was supposed to be going to Project Nigel tomorrow morning, still will be going actually, in order for that work to begin. And I was rather dreading the journey to get him to Project Nigel. Now, Brian's been off the road for about 4 weeks, something like that, maybe 5, maybe even more, I've lost track. And the battery had gone flat, so yesterday I managed to gain access to the car, got the battery off, charged it overnight. Today I refitted it and just, oh get over you twerp, and just went for a little jaunt around the block to assess my chances of actually getting Brian to PNHQ tomorrow. And surprisingly, he drove perfectly from the off. So I went a little bit further and put some fuel in, and again he behaved perfectly, whereas previously he wouldn't drive to the end of the road without all sorts of histrionics. So that left me in something of a dilemma. So what I decided to do was to drive Brian to work this evening, give him a bit of a longer run and see what problems develop. And then, as planned, drive him to PNHQ tomorrow. And then if the problems began reoccurring, as I expected them to, and as I still expect them to, you know, it's highly unlikely that the BCU has miraculously repaired itself. It might have dried out a bit, but it's still going to be rusty, presumably. So yeah, if and when the if and when the problems reoccurred, then carry on with the plan. Leave Brian at PNHQ tomorrow. Mustard would give me a lift back home, and we would, as and when, work on getting the BCU sorted. However, if he makes it to PNHQ tomorrow, having done tonight without any issues, if he then drives to PNHQ tomorrow without any issues, then the temptation is to say bugger it and leave well alone until such time as the problems raise their ugly heads again. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Except that you know it is kind of broke and it's going to be broke again. But you know, at least get a bit of a stay of execution before the serious furdling and no doubt expense begins. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're having a bit of a trial run. Oh, there's been a classic event on somewhere. We're having a bit of a trial run and we're going to see what happens. But I must say, Brian is driving absolutely beautifully. I'd forgotten just how fabulous this car is to drive. Now, Ross, who some of you will know better from the comments or live streams as Dinosaur Dad, came up with quite an amusing idea. Now, a little while ago, kind of out of frustration, I did think that it would be sensible to go down to having only 4 cars, and I tentatively offered Brian here up for sale on the basis that 4 cars was a more manageable fleet, both logistically and financially, than 5, and it would just save all of the faffing about with getting young Brian here sorted. And Ross said, when I mentioned in the Facebook group what was happening today, Ross said carry on with the original plan and repair him. What's happening here is he's got wind that he was for the chop, and so he's got his act together and he's just playing along for now. But as soon as he's confident that he's not in any danger again, he'll just start playing up again. And I quite like that idea. I love the idea of cars, or particularly Rovers, having that kind of personality, and a mischievous personality at that. But so far, touch fake wood. Have I got any real wood anywhere to touch? No, I haven't, have I? But so far, touch wood, all is well. But we'll see what happens over the space of the evening. Okay, my lovelies, we're a little bit further on. We're just about to come into Wessington, and all remains well. Brian really is, and I've said this from day one when I picked him up, never having driven him, he's a fabulous, fabulous car to drive. Genuinely a pleasure. And he was always my first choice for an Arthur. And for those who don't know, your Arthur is your Arthur Daily, your daily vehicle. And it was the wonderful Matt, my known as underscore, of course, my unpaid intern, who's worth every penny I don't pay him. The Arthur thing was his idea, and we all considered it was a splendid wheeze, and we all adopted it immediately. Oh, you've just missed a train, my lovelies. Sorry about that. Maybe you're not so sorry. Maybe you're not as excited by the sight of a train as I am. Here we go. You know what you have to do, folks. Greetings, Honourable Bridge. Somewhere out there, possibly in the environ of Liverpool, there's a lovely Chinese lady with a cute bum who, if she were to ever go under that bridge again, despite herself and despite her absolute hatred for me and probably trying to blot that year out of her mind, she would not be able to help herself but greet the Honourable Bridge in the time-honoured fashion. Okay, my lovelies, it's still just a big heap of nothing to report, really. And as they say, no news is good news. As you can possibly hear, there is a slight blow from the black box. I'm not 17. From the airplane blonde, there is a slight blow from the back box, which makes Brian sound a little bit farty, but sounding a bit farty can be quite endearing, can't it? Although it must be said the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty didn't think so. Not when it came to me, anyway. Right, my darlings, here we are. We have safely arrived, and yeah, safari, so goody. So well, we'll see what happens on the drive home, shall we? So there we are. I'll catch you on the flip side, and we will drive home together and see what happens. Okay, loves, catch you in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, well, that's the evening done and dusted, kippers and custard, and it is time to go home. Now, what updates have I got to give you? Well, I've been running about this evening doing various errands for both the restaurants. So he's done a couple of miles, and there have been, well, there was one very, very minor and transitory episode, but it was undeniably there. But that was the only one. And obviously, in comparison to playing up every 3 seconds, if not continually beforehand, then that is kind of a different world. Basically, he's pretty much reset to where he was when I bought him and before all of the major issues started creeping in. So there were a couple of things that were there when I bought him. So for example, the intermittent wipe doesn't work, and the wipers don't automatically sweep when the windscreen wash is applied. Now, they could be issues with a worn indicator stalk, or they could be the sign of a BCU issue, and obviously in this case I think they're the sign of a BCU issue. But all of the other symptoms or maladies have not, with that one exception, just haven't shown their face at all. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be in him. Now the question is, has he kind of reset to a base, or is this just you know, will the problems quite quickly re-manifest themselves? And I guess the only use is going to show that. Now, if he stayed as he is now, then that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't do anything. I could quite happily and easily live with him like this, as I have done. There's only really that wiper issue. The only other thing is that there's a tiny pause sometimes before operating the key and the starter solenoid are operating. Again, that's been endemic. It's all of the other stuff, like the indicators playing up, the electrics going haywire, the cutting out, the not starting, the misfiring. Obviously that's untenable, but if this was the baseline, then I'd be absolutely fine with that and wouldn't dream of doing anything until things worsened. Of course, I've been trying to think of possible explanations, and it suddenly occurred to me that all of these mad symptoms developed after I used him in that horrendous snow period where I was driving through horrendous snow drifts. Of course, he had snow piled on top of him, and I would have been driving along kicking snow and ice up underneath. And if you recall, there was that night where I well and truly got him launched, absolutely stuck on that snow. Well, it was an ice drift right by the cottage. So I suppose it's perfectly plausible that at some point during all of that madness, then snow and ice got lodged in the BCU and or near it or something. I don't know exactly where the BCU is, if I'm absolutely honest, but maybe it's not entirely coincidence that mad driving through all of that snow and the symptoms coming on, maybe those two things are not coincidental. That would make logical sense to me, even if I can't explain it. It's because I was trying to hiccup at the same time. Even if I can't explain it in engineering terms, it just makes logical sense to me. And maybe that period of sitting and drying out and the warmer weather has obviated the worst of the symptoms, or maybe the BCU is just degenerating, and with continued use those symptoms will re-manifest themselves. We'll just have to see. Okay, I just stopped to let's just move you over a bit. I just stopped to take a phone call, and as I was setting off again, I had another tiny little episode which exactly replicated the one I had before, which again happened exactly as I was just initially setting off. So I don't know if that motion triggers something in some way, but then I've set off many times tonight and it's only happened those twice. So I don't know, but the plan is to go to the Yard of Dreams tomorrow. I'll take you guys with me. I'll film the journey there. We hope it's uneventful and you just get to see the normal highlights of that journey, but who knows what will happen. And then depending on how that goes, if it's as uneventful as tonight has been, then the plan will be to come back in him and carry on using him as an Arthur Daily, and just monitor it day by day and week by week. Obviously, at any point when the serious symptoms do kick back in, then the next Monday it'll be off to Mustard Land and carrying on with the BCU swap over plan. All right, my loves, I'm gonna put some music on, so I'll leave you alone for a bit, and I'll bring you back when I'm nearly home. You can bet I will, mandingos. Can't believe I said that. Right. You know it makes sense. Guess what channel I've been watching? Catch you in a bit. Okay, you're back sooner than expected. Just had another episode, and this time while I'm just toodling along at 40, dropping down to 30, and there's just a sudden apparent, the lights come on as if the well, as if it's just cut out. Kind of didn't cut out, but oh dear. So it looks as if the fix, such as it was entirely temporary. But we'll keep seeing what happens. And again, and now it's properly doing it, and I've lost power, going nowhere. Oh dear. Misfiring all over the shop, zero power. Oh, bugger it. And now we've cut out entirely. Restart, and just done a rolling bump start, and it's absolutely fine for now. Oh, that's such a shame. Oh dear. Had hopes there as well. See, the problem is I don't want to lose him as a daily for a period of time, because I haven't really got another suitable daily. I wonder if there's any way we could organise it so that we could actually do it within a day, or at least within a week. If Mustard and I could whip it out, oh matron, and Senior Mustard could work his magic on it, on the relays, that might be the quickest option. There we go, that did it. He's gone again. Okay, the lights came on, came off. Now there are no warning lights on. My lights are still on. I'm misfiring. Right, then let it cut out. Bump start it. And it's fine. Oh, no it's not. Shit.
Waiting for connection.
Yeah, okay.
Bluetooth connection success.
Alright, that was a bit more serious, wasn't it? Oh, this is kind of back to its worst, and I was just turning you on to say that it had been, that last bit had been episode 3. And again, I've got my ABS light on, I've got the battery light came on, it's like completely losing power, the radio resets itself, cigarette lighter isn't powered. Now that time it just righted itself. So what's that all about? I mean, I've assumed that it's the BCU. Could it be anything else? Something more simple? I suppose the answer is to get it to Paul's tomorrow, get him to have a look, rule out, I don't know what obvious issues it could be, other than the BCU, but oh dear, that's rather disheartening. Serves me right for being optimistic this afternoon, doesn't it? Oh well. See what tomorrow brings, I guess. Obviously, I'm not competent enough or mechanically minded enough to know what the other possible causes might be. I don't know, not a clue. But we're home now, we're safe. So, you know, that's something, and we've got through tonight, and that's also something. and there's a cat there, and that's also something. So there we are. Right, well, that's it for tonight. So yeah, tomorrow I will somehow limp Brian up to the Yard of Dreams, and we will take it from there. So that's it for tonight. Do tune in to Monday Night Live if you're still awake at 11 PM, which is when it starts, and that is my community live stream, and obviously I'll give an update there as to how tomorrow went. Other than that, watch out for the next video landing at some point on Tuesday, probably in the normal 19:19 slot. It's now 11:15, and I'm going to try and do a rush job on editing this. Shouldn't be too difficult, and try and get it out before midnight so you know what's going on. Alright my lovelies, thank you so much for watching. Take care, catch you next time. Bye bye.
Listen very carefully, I shall say this only once. Boats would like to express his heartfelt appreciation to his amazing channel members. Allen Searle, Project MGTF, Rosé-CHPH-KS, Chef-Daniel, The Greenwood, Typhoon Cat, Richard Mahon, Dinosaur Dad, GPSOMG, Car Crazy Norwegian, Tricia Alderman, Black Lines, Classic Wheels Wells, Sha Brown and Mickey Jeffries. Your support means the world to him, you're all fucking legends and he thanks you from the heart of his bottom.